My name is Andy. Andy?
Andy, you say you like to have deep in your throat. You ask her if she feels the need for sex. I can fulfill that need.
She told me that she was 13.
How about 12?
No, she told me she was 13.
At the end of the day, we need to be representing this country at all areas. I mean, you know my view. My view is take over England.
This Muslim got another one off the street.
And what religion is he?
Right, he's from my religion. He's a Sikh man. I know everybody says we only target one religion, but it's not my fault that the decoys inboxes are full of people of the Islamic faith. But I will take anybody down from any religion. Our religion teaches them. That's one of the reasons our religion was given the Quran.
Why anybody's allowed to carry a weapon for religious reasons is beyond me. Because I'll just start a religion and say, right, we're all allowed to carry Mac 10s. Now, yeah, that is a little bit far, but it's the same principle.
A 64-year-old religious leader in Delaware County has now been charged, accused of sexually assaulting a child over a period of several years. The alleged victim says it all began when she was just 5 years old.
She went to the Philadelphia Sikh temple in Millbourne to learn religious hymns, where Singh was the lead priest. She also told me that he has regular contact with kids as part of his position as a priest.
You're in your box, bro. You're trying to make everybody part of your religion. We're not. Muslims want to make everybody Muslim. We want to make everybody religious.
Religious faith is an enormously powerful psychological weapon.
You don't get to choose what to learn. You get to listen to what Guru Sahib wants you to learn. They're in control all the time.
We believe that the Guru and God are one. The Guru is God.
We have to agree with Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Can't say no, you're wrong. And as a Sikh, we believe that we will rule the world.
It isn't always used for the bad, of course, but the fact that it can be used for the bad makes me want to cut it off at the roots.
If your aim is to become one with God, isn't that the greatest aim? Because God's the greatest. But this aim does not exist in other religions.
Your name is the fearless Lord. Chanting your name, one does not have to go to hell.
Notice, all religious holy books, i.e. Bible, Quran, etc., all have the same theme: praise their God or go to hell.
Sound and logical, facts over fantasy. Sound and logical, link with humanity. Like, share and subscribe.
I should start by saying I'm more of an anti-theist than an atheist. In other words, my view is not just that there is no reason to believe that there is a deity, but that it's a good thing that that's not the case. If you want to have power over other human beings, the most potent way, the most effective way of claiming and exerting power over fellow humans is to say you're doing it in God's name, that you're God's appointed. They can't challenge that.
In amongst all these dharms, the one thing that shines out like a beacon is Guru Granth Sahib Ji. No one has anything like Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Maharaj is just beyond amazing. No one has a Granth written by their actual prophet.
At the end of the day, we need to be representing this country at all areas. I mean, you know my view. My view is take over England. Yeah. I don't see, if people watch my videos, I just say, look, if you want to Khalsa Raj, then do Khalsa Raj here. What's the point of thinking about Khalistan in Punjab? We're never going to move out there. I don't want to move out to Khalistan.
So why don't we just take over India? It's a democracy. It's got 600,000 Harijans. We should all make them into Sikhs. Then we'll have 600 million Sikhs. Then we've got democracy. You can take over India. I mean, it's not that out there compared to taking a bit of land off a nuclear power that's got one of the largest armies in the world, yeah, and taking that land away from them, which happens to be the breadbasket of India, and happens to be their border with their major enemy. I mean, realistically, that's more unlikely. I just said take over the whole of India, and I think the way you should do it is to do it democratically. Just make all the Harijans into Sikh. Just make all the Harijans into Sikh. You're in your box, bro. You're trying to make everybody part of your religion. We're not. Muslims want to make everybody Muslim. We want to make everybody religious. That's the key difference. Guru Sahib is not just a prophet, way beyond that. But no one's got a Granth written by the actual person. I'll tell you a little proof, yeah?
If today one of you lot took this video of me and typed out everything I said, even then you'd make mistakes. But Guru Maharaj was there to check what Bhai Gurdas Ji wrote down. They checked it and they wrote one magical word. What was it? Shuddha. Akho Waheguru. Learn this word today and never forget it from your vocabulary. Shuddha. The word Suddha or Shuddha, it means pure.
You can't just say, hey, I'm me, you should do what I say. The best thing is to say, no, I'm doing God's work here. I am God's representative on earth. That's been, ever since antiquity, the easiest way of establishing a dictatorship, and the worst dictatorships today are still theocratic ones. So what this all represents is an argument over unresolved contradictions in the real world. And that, you'll notice, is where priests really want power. Look.
One who slanders the perfect, true Guru is punished and destroyed by the true Lord.
Notice how religious holy books always seem to defend the judge, the priest, the king, the prophet, and the Lord's anointed. The people are told to obey. The leaders are protected. The money flows upward. The questions are called rebellion. That is not a coincidence. That is architecture.
And in Guru Granth Sahib Ji, it occurs periodically. You know how Guru Granth Sahib Ji was composed? Guru Arjan Dev Ji read out the Bani, and then Bhai Gurdas Ji is writing it down there and then, first hand, right? Bhai Gurdas Ji finishes, Guru Arjan Dev Ji walks over to see what Bhai Gurdas Ji has written. They check it, laga matra theek ne, everything's right. Then when it's checked, they write should. This process does not exist in any other Dharmic Granth upon the earth. No one ever checked it. Just that one word is way beyond anything else. Sasanji,
because it's the Guru. A Sikh has to learn from the Guru, not the Sikh chooses what to learn from the Guru. If you are somebody who goes to the Bible or to the Quran, you can choose what chapter to read, and that's it. You get the gyan that you wanted. You get the gyan that you wanted. You don't get to choose. The Guru doesn't get to choose what to teach you. You're choosing what to learn from the Guru. But in Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, you don't get to choose what to learn. You get to listen to what Guru Sahib wants you to learn. They're in control all the time. A badi bareek cheez hegi hai, samjhne vaste. Maharaj is in control of our learning. We're not in control of our learning. As a Sikh, we have to agree with Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Can't say, no, you're wrong. And as a Sikh, we believe that we will rule the world.
No, our problem is this: our prefrontal lobes are too small, and our adrenaline glands are too big, and our thumb finger opposition isn't all that it might be. And we're afraid of the dark, and we're afraid to die, and we believe in the truths of holy books that are so stupid and so fabricated that a child can, and all children do, but as you can tell by their questions, actually see through them. And I think it should be religion treated with ridicule.
How can we choose what to learn from the Guru? Guru Sahib is Devan Dev, Rajan Raj, Devan Dev, Upma Mahan. They are so amazing, Pananapan. They are the one in charge. They are the one in charge. That's why Bani doesn't let you choose what to learn. Bani tells you what it will teach you, because Bani Guru hai Bani. It's in charge.
I have a moral challenge on this point. Answer me this if you think that morality comes from the supernatural and we require celestial dictatorship permission for it. Name me a moral action committed by a believer, or a moral statement or an ethical statement uttered by one that could not be made or uttered by an unbeliever. I've asked this in a number of venues and forums now. I'm going to keep on asking it. I've not yet had an answer. If I was to ask anyone in this room, however, could they name a wicked action performed or a vile statement made by someone attributable only to their religious faith, there isn't a single person here who'd have to hesitate for a second.
That we will rule the world. That the Khalsa will rule the world, without doubt. Raj karega Khalsa. And no one will be opposed to this rule. The whole world will welcome that rule of the Khalsa. Yeah? That's a very awkward thing to think about, because most people are thinking, oh, what would you mean rule people? That the philosophy of the Khalsa will be the guiding philosophy for the whole planet.
I think the virus is quite a good analogy in one respect. A virus is something that spreads because it spreads because it spreads. So if you look biologically at what a virus does, it's made of DNA or sometimes RNA. It contains instructions that don't say something interesting like the DNA of an elephant that says build a trunk. Strictly speaking, you could say the DNA of an elephant says build a trunk and build legs and build a tail and build ears, all in the service of making more DNA like this. That's what it's all about. So any DNA is in a sense saying make more DNA like me, but in the case of an elephant, using this rather large digression of making a trunk and legs and eyes and so on. In the case of a virus, the digression is much shorter. In case of a virus, it's just more or less copy me, copy me, copy me, make a duplicate of me, replicate me, spread me around. Now, any idea which passes from brain to brain and says copy me is like a virus. So an example of a mind virus would be one of those so-called chain letters that you get. You get a letter that says, make 6 copies of this letter and pass them on to 6 friends. Well, not all the 6 friends are going to do that, but it only takes a minority and it will spread. And so we've all received these letters. They are pointless, they're a waste of time. Sometimes they contain little bribes. They say, if you make 6 copies of this letter, then you'll receive 10 euros from each person or whatever it is. Or sometimes they say, if you don't make 6 copies, then you'll have a terrible catastrophe in your life. It only takes a minority of people to believe that, and it will spread. That's a mind virus. I think religion is like that, because I think religion contains messages of reassurance. You'll go to heaven if you believe. Or it contains threats. You'll go to hell if you don't. All it takes is for a message like that to have some appeal or some threat that amounts to an appeal, which will cause it to spread. And some things spread better than others. Advertising people are in the business of thinking up viruses that will spread. People talk about YouTube videos going viral. They spread because they spread because they spread. And I think that religion belongs in that category. Religious ideas belong in that category. And well-organized religions like Roman Catholicism and Islam are collections of mind viruses which thrive in each other's presence.
If your aim is to become one with God, isn't that the greatest aim? Because God's the greatest. But this aim does not exist in other religions.
One of our big principles is we believe there's one God. Whether you follow Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, it's our belief that no one is necessarily wrong.
If your aim is to become one with God, isn't that the greatest aim? Because God's the greatest. But this aim does not exist in other religions.
They're all just praising one God. In 1400s, which was our first guru, he started wearing a turban, and it's believed that that was one form of just identifying a Sikh, somebody who's a follower of the religion. A Sikh symbol is a double-edged sword, 2 swords and a throwing disc, and that's because our religion is born out of a lot of violence.
Sikhism is a very peaceful religion, though.
The one belief that's very strict is that you never want to engage first, but if someone is persecuting you, if someone's coming after you, you're supposed to stand up and fight back.
This is a Sikh guy, right?
Yeah. And whenever you see the turban like that, which they took from the Muslims, the Sikhs wear their turbans because of the Muslim influence of the Mughal Empire.
The reason why the 6th Guru made a mosque is we're not against Islam. Right. That's not the point.
And I can see that.
Yeah, because of the fact that we appreciate that actually there is no religion. There is no religion. Right. There's bad people and there's good people. And all we care about is the good people, want to hang out with them, and bad people, we're going to be involved in being against them, yeah? So we don't really care about religion, man. You know what I mean? We got nothing against any religion.
If your aim is to become one with God, isn't that the greatest aim? Because God's the greatest. But this aim does not exist in other religions.
The Muslims controlled all of India at one point. That's where that comes from. They didn't create the turban. The turban was like a sign of like status, like, the conqueror, So that's where the turban comes from.
That's the other danger in front of you, that you treat Sikhi as a religion. If you treat Sikhi as a religion, then that's what religious people do. They go to church on Sundays, yeah, or in the evenings, and they learn and they study their whole life. Then they die. They're of no use to anybody, really. And don't treat it like a religion. Treat it like a dharma. It's a duty. Yeah? A dharma means you have to uphold that duty. You're dead to the world. That was the whole point of Amrit. You're dead to the world. Now you're reborn in the Guru's house. A Sikh can have an interfaith marriage, but by UK law. You can't have an interfaith marriage by the Gurdwara, in the Gurdwara, as around Guru Granth Sahib Ji. The Anand Karj ceremony is only for Sikhs. The reason why I say that is, in the Anand Karj ceremony, who's attended an Anand Karj ceremony, by the way? Have you ever seen people get married that don't bow down to Guru Granth Sahib Ji? They read the part out, then you bow down to accept it. And the whole part is about the Guru. The part is about the Guru. Satgur Gur Pura Aradha. I worship my Guru with love. The person bowing down who's not a Sikh, what are they saying? They're saying, I bow down to these words, but I'm not going to follow them. What's going on there? Why is that person bowing down to something that they don't accept? It's like imagine you went to a mosque and you say, I want to get married to this person, do a nikah ceremony. They're saying, are you a Muslim? They say no. They say, do you want to take the shahada? You say, yeah, no problem. And you say the shahada. You say, I believe in one God and that Muhammad is the last messenger. And you say, but I'm not a Muslim. And say, what? You just went to the ceremony. You're not a Muslim? What's that all about? So people are bowing down to Guru Granth Sahib Ji, accepting it as their Guru. They're going around Guru Granth Sahib Ji saying, you are the focus of my life. But they're not following Guru. That doesn't make any sense. So for a Sikh, the Anand Karj ceremony is a relationship with the Guru. You're committing your life to follow the Guru's principles. You're going around the Guru. You're saying, you are my focus of my life. My life revolves around you. I revolve around you. The planets revolve around the sun. The Sikh revolves around the Guru. Then no other Granth has got writings of people from different backgrounds. There's no other Granth in Kirtan. In Rag, divided by music. So Guru Granth Sahib Ji is unique for many, many reasons. If we look at Sikhi, you look at equality between men and women. You look at the idea of seva. You look at the idea of reincarnation making sense from an equality point of view. You look at one more thing which you haven't talked about yet, is the spirituality of Sikhi. Naam di gal.
I've enjoyed reading your writings very much, and one of the things I've noticed is that in your writings we have what we might call a double critique of religion. There is a sort of intellectual critique. In your view, the religions do not have adequate evidential foundations, but alongside that I occasionally detect flashes of anger, that this is something that is bad, that is evil. The world would be a better place if things were to change. And so I suppose my question really is this: why the anger? What is it that really makes you cross about the way religious people think or behave?
I think two possible answers to that. One would be relating to the evidential point. First, I think that religion teaches people to stop questioning. I'm sure you disagree with that, but the way I see it, it is such a privilege to be born at all. It's a very improbable event that either of us were born. We have the privilege of being in this universe for a few decades. And during that time, it is an enormous privilege to be able to understand something about the universe in which we live, why we're here, why we were ever born, where we come from. And I think that is such a wonderful thing to be able to do, that I am hostile. I can get angry about competing accounts which seem to me to not encourage that kind of questioning, but instead to say, this is how it is, it's all written in the holy book, that's the end of it. I think that deprives people. I think that is such a belittling, a demeaning view of the universe, and I think it's tragic that children are brought up with that when they could be brought up in a more open-minded way. So that's one reason for the anger. The other reason we've touched upon, it is that I do think that faith unsupported by evidence is a lethal weapon. Well, it doesn't have to be, of course it doesn't have to be, but it can be.
Kulvinder shows us his kirpan, a small ceremonial sword many Sikhs are legally permitted to carry as part of their faith. The rules around publicly possessing these kinds of religious artefacts have been thrown into the spotlight since the murder of Henry Novak, with calls for them to be banned.
It's clear that he did not intend to go out to kill Henry Novak. His intention wasn't to seek confrontation or to have any altercation. It happened.
Henry Novak's killer did use a dagger, but it wasn't a kirpan. He used a peshkabz, a traditional Indo-Persian weapon which can only be carried by someone if they have a legitimate religious reason.
So normally I wouldn't have been worried about wearing the kirpan over the top of my clothes, not a problem. But now with everything that's been going on, I think I would certainly, cover it, put an overcoat over the top of it, with all the publicity that we've had about it at the moment.
What do you say to people who describe it as a knife, and why should the Sikh community be allowed to carry a knife?
I think the thing is that people don't understand that this is one of the artefacts that all practicing Sikhs wear. I think we've been wearing this since our forefathers served in the First World War, and it's always been there, and I think that there should be no question about wearing the kirpan, because this is our identity, this is who we are as Sikhs.
I don't think a whole religion should be punished for the actions of a single person. However, the question remains, and we probably won't know this answer until an inquiry is carried out. He presumably was carrying that that knife because it was part of his religion. If he hadn't been carrying the knife, Henry Novak would be alive today. I think that goes without saying, doesn't it?
I think that just in your setup, I think there's a key distinction that needs to be made. I think absolutely we can talk about why Sikhs wear the kirpan, what its significance is, but we should also detach it from this case, because this case is horrific murder of Henry Novak by Vikram Digwa was committed by using a Persian-style dagger, which was an additional item he was carrying on his persons beyond his required kirpan.
Religious faith is an enormously powerful psychological weapon. It isn't always used for the bad, of course, but the fact that it can be used for the bad makes me want to cut it off at the roots, and at very least to stop the inculcation into children of the idea that there is something virtuous in faith. I am very concerned, I suppose we could call this a third reason of hostility, I'm very concerned with the way children coming into the world, innocent and knowing nothing, are taken over by the religion of whatever culture they happen to be born into. Doesn't happen to everybody, but it's very common. And so you see children being labeled, but the labeling of children, generation after generation after generation, down the generations, only exacerbates the problem and is bound to do so.
Now, I am absolutely convinced that the main source of hatred in the world is religion and organized religion. Absolutely convinced of them. I'm glad that you applaud, because it's a very great problem for those who oppose this motion, isn't it? How are they going to ban religion? How are they going to stop the expression of religious loathing, hatred, and bigotry? I speak as someone who's a fairly regular target of this, and not just in rhetorical form. I have been the target of many death threats. I know within a short distance of where I'm currently living in Washington, I can name 2 or 3 people whose names you'd probably know who can't go anywhere now without a security detail because of the criticisms they've made of one monotheism in particular. And this is in the capital city of the United States. So I know what I'm talking about, and I also have to notice that the sort of people who ring me up and say they know where my children go to school, and they certainly know what my home number is and where I live, and what they're going to do to them and to my wife and to me, and who I have to take seriously because they have done it to people I know, are just the people who are going to seek the protection of the hate speech law if I say what I think about their religion.
But why is a kirpan so important?
So on that aspect, it is an integral part of the Sikh faith. It's one of the 5 articles of faith, the Panj Kakar, which were blessed by the 10th Guru, Guru Gobind Singh Ji.
I mean, with respect, this is religious gobbledygook, isn't it? Because it's a bit like Christians defending the practices of the Old Testament. These things are hundreds, in Christian terms, thousands of years old. We're now in 2026, not in 1699.
The proof of this is Guru Sahib is saying in Bani, they say a Shabad, is a beautiful Shabad. Maharaj says that Jo prani jalbin hai marta. Like a person dies without water, Jo prani jalbin hai marta, tyon Sikh gurbin mar jai. The Sikh dies like the Guru. Jo tarti sob kare jal varse, tyon Sikh gurmil big sai. Just like the earth becomes so happy when rain falls on it, the same way a Sikh is, when they see the Guru, they blossom. This person is not a Sikh, but they're bowing down and going, Guru Sahib, why are we making them do that? Just take him to a registry marriage, get him married, cool. Yeah. So you can have an interfaith marriage, but you can't have an interfaith Anand Karaj. The Anand Karaj is a ceremony between two Sikhs and the Guru. Two Sikhs committing to the Guru together. That is what the Anand Karaj is. You can't have somebody who's not a Sikh doing that. Doesn't make any sense. Same thing, there's 4 ceremonies. There's a Janam Sankar, when the child gets given this name. Would you grab some random white kid and bring him in and say, here, let's get your Sikh name and give you Amrit? No. Would you allow someone to have their Kirtan soil around a Gurdwara when they're not even a Sikh? Then there's 2 other ceremonies, Amrit and another college. They're all for Sikhs. There's 6 ceremonies. Yeah? Have your interfaith marriage if you want to. That's fine. It's your choice. But don't try to get that person to, because you want to have the Sikh marriage, force them to go around. That doesn't make any sense. If, like, for example, somebody comes to Sikhi, yeah? Like a white person comes to Sikhi, like we've got some people, and there's a guy, the white guy that came to Sikhi there, he's married to an Indian girl, but she's not Sikh. He says, can I take Amrit? My wife's not going to take Amrit. She's not a Sikh. Or somebody else. Oh, of course, you can take Amrit, but you can't say to your wife, come along for the day.
I mean, this is a very difficult subject in a way, because I'm not seeking to demonise the Sikh faith whatsoever. But I think it's important that I and my listeners understand the origins of why carrying a kirpan is so important to Sikhs. Because I mean, why would we know if you people like you don't tell us?
Yeah, can I just say, I approached a very nice Sikh lad today in Cyprus, yeah, and he was very pleasant, and I asked him a few questions. And I said, can I just ask you one thing? While you're at work, are you carrying your kirpan? And he said, no. And he pointed to his bangle. He had a bangle on. And he said, is that? Yeah. He said, I wear that instead of the kirpan. Or, in the middle of his turban, he was explaining things to me. Very nice lad. You see what I'm trying to do here, Bobby, is understand, because I'll repeat. I met you the first time at the UTK. With me, that tapped your kirpan on your hip. And I asked you, I said, what is that for? You know why I asked? It wasn't being abrupt or rude, because I'd only just seen the footage of what's happened to Henry Novak, yeah? I never knew that Sikh men carried these weapons, religious or ceremonial or not. I never knew. So that tells me, if I didn't know, millions of people haven't known this story. But now we are being educated in the Sikh religion, in the Muslim religion, and we've had to be educated through negative things happening. We've had to learn about Islam. We've had to learn about the Pakistan raping, grooming gangs.
Law of the land is that bands are banned from being carried by the general public in public. And this is obviously a big exemption to that law. And all I'm asking is it time for us to look at that again? You're clearly saying no.
Well, these individuals can do something, and this is the thing, you can't legislate and govern either from a religious perspective or from a legal legislation perspective what an individual may do. Now, it is similar to if you buy a knife from the shop. You go to Tesco's, you go any shop, you buy a knife, you come home, you could use it as a criminal way on the way home. Now, they're not banning those. We've seen there's cases of people using scissors to kill. More people have been killed from scissors than Sikh ceremonial items. Now, there's no conversation of banning scissors. So I think we have to look at it in the context of the risk factors and how disproportionate the conversation has become, because again, I reiterate, it wasn't his Qurban he used, it was a dagger.
I think the virus is quite a good analogy in one respect. A virus is something that spreads because it spreads because it spreads. So if you look biologically at what a virus does, it's made of DNA or sometimes RNA. It contains instructions that don't say something interesting like the DNA of an elephant that says build a trunk. Strictly speaking, you could say the DNA of an elephant says build a trunk and build legs and build a tail and build ears, all in the service of making more DNA like this. That's what it's all about. So any DNA is in a sense saying make more DNA like me, but in the case of an elephant, using this rather large digression of making a trunk and legs and eyes and so on. In the case of a virus, the digression is much shorter. In the case of a virus, it's just more or less copy me, copy me, copy me, make a duplicate of me, replicate me, spread me around. Now, any idea which passes from brain to brain and says copy me is like a virus. So an example of a mind virus would be one of those so-called chain letters that you get. You know, you get a letter that says, make 6 copies of this letter and pass them on to 6 friends. Well, not all the 6 friends are going to do that, but it only takes a minority and it will spread. And so we've all received these letters. They are pointless, they're a waste of time. Sometimes they contain little bribes. They say, if you make 6 copies of this letter, then you'll receive 10 euros from each person, or whatever it is. Or sometimes they say, if you don't make 6 copies, then you'll have a terrible catastrophe in your life. It only takes a minority of people to believe that, and it will spread. That's a mind virus. I think religion is like that, because I think religion contains messages of reassurance. You'll go to heaven if you believe. Or it contains threats. You'll go to hell if you don't. All it takes is for a message like that to have some appeal or some threat that amounts to an appeal, which will cause it to spread. And some things spread better than others. Advertising people are in the business of thinking up viruses that will spread. People talk about YouTube videos going viral. They spread because they spread because they spread. And I think that religion belongs in that category. Religious ideas belong in that category. And well-organized religions like Roman Catholicism and Islam are collections of mind viruses which thrive in each other's presence.
The atheist proposition is the following. Most of the time, it may not be said that there is no God. It may be said that there is no reason to think that there is one. That was the situation after Lucretius and Democritus and the original anti-theistic thinkers began their critique of religion.
G'day guys, well today I'm at Bangla Sahib. It's a Sikh temple and we're going to go inside and have a look. Yeah, this place is fully Sikh. Apparently it's full of solid gold as well. Okay, so to come in here you have to wash your hands, then you walk through this water and then you come upstairs. And then you have to put one of these things on your head to shield it from something. Then you have to come here and buy something to offer to the gods. And that's where they make their money. Now, when you walk through the door, you have to come here, bend down to pray, and while you're praying, you've got to drop more money in a big steel money box.
All your work is still ahead of you. To go from being a deist to a theist, in other words, from someone who says God cares about you, knows who you are, minds what you do, answers your prayers, to its ghastly reliance upon the supernatural rather than the much more miraculous, much more beautiful, much more elegant, much more numinous, much more harmonious natural explanations. Think how much lovelier Einstein and Darwin are. Think how much more elegant and persuasive they are.
Now you come and make your way over to this magical door. I don't know what's so magical about it, but everyone seems to be praying to it, touching it, bending over in front of it. Anyway, to each their own. Now as you're leaving the temple, you have to bend down and touch this step and then kiss your hand, and that's the end of your trip inside the temple.
What is more likely? That the laws of nature have been suspended in your favor and in a way that you approve, or that you've made a mistake. And in each case you must, and especially if you didn't see it yourself and you're hearing it from someone who says that they did.
A person who talks to God, then, Nanak, today, mentally ill. But Nanak was in bliss and was merging with God. The universe revealed all its secrets to him. He drank divine nectar. He heard a voice say, I am. It was the voice of God.
Hearing voices is the most common symptom of schizophrenia, affecting up to 80% of people with the condition. These are known as auditory hallucinations.
If you'll humor me and tell me why you do believe, I think I can point out why I think there's an error there.
Because I talked to him.
You talk to him.
Yeah, and he talks to me.
You hear him with your ears?
Yes.
Out loud?
Out loud, sir.
Okay. Then do the people around you hear it when it happens?
Not always.
Not always?
No.
Why not?
I guess they weren't listening.
And how is this different from the guy in the padded cell who hears voices?
Well, it's not much, is there?
No. And that's my point.
What's the aim of a Sikh? What's the ultimate aim? Milap. To merge with Waheguru. Right? Now, let's just think about this for a second without you getting into too much depth. If your aim is to become one with God, isn't that the greatest aim? Because God's the greatest. But this aim does not exist in other religions.
You're it. Quincy's. Any Quincy's. You're it, Quincy's. No, any Quincy's, no startsies. You can't do that. Can't do. Cannot. Stamped it. Can't do. Double stamped it. No erases. Cannot. Triple stamped it. No erases. Touch blue, make it through. You can't triple stamp a double stamp. You can't triple stamp a double stamp, Lloyd. You can't triple stamp a double stamp. Lloyd. You guys. Enough.
According to Sikhism, God created hair for humans, so Sikhs should not cut their hair.
Then why do Sikhs cut their nails? Didn't God create nails for humans too?
Because nails are dead, while hair are alive.
Science says the visible part of your skin, hair, and nails is mostly dead. The surface is the final resting place for cells that once grew below.
If you cut your nails because they are dead, then you should also cut your hair because they are dead too.
Hey, want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
In this video, I'm going to talk about why Sikhs don't cut their hairs. Sikhs are supposed to keep their hairs unshorn according to the command or hukum of Guru. As Guru Sahib says, the God has created our human body and he has decorated our skin with the hairs, or God has put the hairs on our body. As Guru Sahib says, Jin tu saaj, sawar, sigaria. And God didn't put the hairs on our body by mistake, because according to Guru Sahib, God does not make any mistake. As Guru Sahib says, Pullan andar sab ko, apull Guru kartar. So hairs are the blessings of God, and Sikhs don't cut them while following the law of God, and Sikhs just look after their hairs without cutting them, and Sikhs do not need any logic from science to keep hairs. Sikhs just don't cut their hairs because they follow the law of God or Guru.
Apparently, you're not allowed to leave with your back facing the temple, which is what I did. I'm going to hell. So there was like a heap of bowing and a heap of touching and a heap of throwing money at stuff. So now we're outside going for a walk around. Some sacred fish. And one last prayer thing, people drinking holy water. Well, that was our prayers. Oh, well, no, one more prayer. Pray at the something of big orange poles. And one more thing, you have to grab some food and eat it. Looks like sugar. Or something. And that was it, the trip to the Sikh temple. Now time to get our shoes back.
God that our neighbors believe in is essentially an invisible person. He is a creator deity who created the universe to have a relationship with one species of primate. Lucky us. and he's got galaxy upon galaxy to attend to, but he's especially concerned with what we do, and he's especially concerned with what we do while naked.
We are all atheists about most of the gods that humanity has ever believed in. Some of us just want God further. Richard Dawkins.
But yet they read comics about guys who run on water and turn coal into diamonds and fly through the sun and have all of these extraordinary powers that are all about doing good for others or doing evil for others. Sounds like the Bible to me. Sounds like any religious text. It sounds like the Quran. It sounds like, something you'd find in a synagogue. But young people are more likely to buy a comic book with these morality tales and these people with all these powers than they are likely to read a religious text and sit down with people and talk about it. It's our new generation.
One of the things that we end up doing when we're defending atheism is we end up talking about morality. We end up talking about how can someone be moral without God? How can someone be moral without a supreme being looking over them for reward and punishment? They're always talking about that morality, and can we have it without God? But they will stand up and they will ask, if there is no God, what stops you from raping and killing everyone you want to rape and kill? What stops you from doing that? And my answer is always, you're absolutely right. I have raped and killed every single person I want to rape and kill. And that number is 0, you evil motherfucker! It's 0! It's a goose egg! And if your number is a positive integer, sign up for prison! Get the fuck out of our society! Because morality is more important than God. And we know that because you stupid motherfuckers say the sentence, God is good. And if morality is not more important than God, you don't get to say that.
On its own, a hateful idea, a hateful practice, and a hateful theory, but very much to be opposed in our daily lives, where there are people who sincerely mean it, who want to ruin the good relations that could exist between different peoples, nations, races, countries, tribes, ethnicities, who openly say they love death more than we love life, and who are betting that with God on their side, they're right about that. So when I say, as the subtitle of my book, that I think religion poisons everything, I'm not just doing what publishers like and coming up with a provocative subtitle. I mean to say it infects us in our most basic integrity. It says we can't be moral without Big Brother, without a totalitarian permission. It means we can't be good to one another. It means we can't think without this. I say this is evil. And though I do some nights stay home, I enjoy more the nights when I go out and fight against this ultimate wickedness and ultimate stupidity. Thank you.
Gurubit Sikh here, FredHunter.com. God bless me. And Frank English report another one. Just looking beautiful. Send in.
No, can you pictures of white
people quite easy with 15-year-old people. Disgusting. Got another one off the screen.
And what religion is he?
What? He's from my religion. He's a Sikh man. I know everybody says we only target one religion, but it's not my fault that the decoys inboxes are full of people of the Islamic faith. But I will take anybody down from any religion.
A 64-year-old religious leader in Delaware County has now been charged, accused of sexually assaulting a child over a period of several years. The alleged victim says it all began when she was just 5 years old.
She went to the Philadelphia Sikh temple in Millbourne to learn religious hymns, where Singh was the lead priest. She claims he touched her inappropriately for years until she reported it to a school counselor in 2014. Millbourne police originally got involved, but the investigation was never completed. According to court documents, that's because the family came to an agreement with Singh and wouldn't cooperate with the investigation. I spent the day trying to track Singh down at the temple and at his home.
He didn't do anything.
A woman who identified herself as his daughter-in-law spoke to me today.
So he says he didn't do anything?
Of course not, yeah.
Do you believe him?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been living with him for 18 years.
She also told me that he has regular contact with kids as part of his position as a priest, and they don't know who the accuser is.
I see the Lord, the source of bliss, everywhere. Through the word of the Guru's Shabad, a Lord of the universe is revealed.
All religious texts sound the same. Based on claims a God's word was revealed by a prophet or guru.
My name is Andy. Andy?
Andy, you say you like to have deep in your throat. You ask her if she feels the need for sex. I can fulfill that need.
She told me that she was 13.
How about 12?
No, she told me she was 13.
She says that she's 12. You ask her to show you her crazy side. You say you like playing in the shower. Maybe we do that afterwards. Unless I'm not talking to a cop who's going to arrest me tomorrow.
Are you a cop?
I'm not a cop. So you say I would have to catch you having sex with a 13-year-old girl
before you can put me against the law. You can converse, but it doesn't mean I'm going to do it, right?
Cops are looking for a cabbie who allegedly raped and robbed a young woman in Williamsburg, Brooklyn last week. Deborah Alfarone is live in Penn Station, where she has actually been handing out flyers with the alleged perpetrator's face on it during this morning's rush. Hi, Deborah.
But take the simplest case about whether our morality is innate or not. And every time I'm asked this question, if you didn't believe in God, how would you know what was good and what wasn't? Every time I'm asked to speak on this, the daily news allows me to give a different answer and give a different example. Take the simplest case of what I believe is innate, our instinct for our children. You don't have to be a parent to have this. You see a child trying to rush into the traffic. If you're not a parent, something tells you what you probably ought to be doing about it. The care and love and protection of children is instinct in us, in fact, in many other species too, that don't claim to be divinely ordered around. It's something we all share without having to have it explained to us. We may say that that those who don't have it, the psychopaths who don't seem to have it, or who take delight in breaking this commandment or rule, we say that they're bestial, but again, I refer you to the animal kingdom that doesn't allow such transgressions. And we have to advance the time when more and more people will be able to civilize themselves by outgrowing religion and leaving this awful nonsense behind.
So I don't care if someone is religious, if they believe in a god or gods. What I'm concerned about is talking about the fact that all religion is in some measure manipulative. For example, crowd psychology. You go to a football game. If the stands are full, it's so exciting. If they're not as full, it's not quite as exciting. But a full with cheers and the teams playing hard and maybe your team's winning, it creates a euphoria, an altered state of consciousness. But you wouldn't experience that as spiritual necessarily. Looking inside your brain, you'd see chemicals changing and all sorts of biochemical changes that create this experience that creates an altered state. It's similar in a church. A full church enhances the natural crowd experience. And it sets people up to feel euphoric, to go into an altered state. And if you could look inside their brains, you'd see the same chemicals going off in their brains, the same synapses firing in their brains that fire in the football game. The service creates a euphoria. It creates an altered state inside the church. But the difference is they feel it as spiritual. They feel like it's God touching them or in some way communicating with them. In this particular altered state, people could be more easily manipulated into giving money or believing some fantastic things. It's a form of hypnosis, which I'll talk about in another discussion.
At the front of the Gurdwara is the canopy where the holy book is kept. While the book is uncovered, someone must stand over it using this special fan called a chowri.
The reason it's called guru is because they teach that there was this succession of 10 gurus and that the book is the 11th guru. Now, you might just think that they mean that in a figurative sense, but no, they mean it quite literally, that the book is the 11th guru. In fact, they treat the book as if it were a person.
We had to bow in front of the canopy because this is where the holy book is kept. The Guru Granth Sahib.
Even as a child, there was something different about Nanak. Strange, mysterious things seemed to happen around him. One day he fell asleep in the shadows under a tree. This could be quite dangerous in a hot country like India. If he didn't wake up, the sun would burn him as it moved round. But a strange thing happened. As the sun moved round, all the shadows under the other trees also moved round, but the shadow protecting Nanak stayed exactly where it was.
But this, to me, is the true horror of religion. It allows perfectly decent and sane people to believe by the billions what only lunatics could believe on their own.
Guru Harkrishan Sahib won the hearts of a large number of admirers by applying healing touch on ailing bodies. He cured hundreds of people suffering from acute attack of cholera and smallpox.
Talk is cheap.
Guru Har Krishan contracted smallpox, and died of the disease in 1664.
I think one can tell a very great deal about a person or an institution or a society according as to whether it is believed that we, the species, or we, or ourselves as individuals, are present here because of the laws of biology. I think that the cult of faith and the instinct to worship and to prostrate ourselves, to practice religion or have it practiced upon us, in other words, is poisonous of everything, because it attacks us in our deepest and most intimate and essential integrity. It says to us, in effect, that we don't have the right to decide for ourselves on what is right. We can't tell a right action. People say to me, not realizing how insulting the question is, how would you have morals if it wasn't for God? How would you know? I pause here just to say, and I think on the campus of a university named for Roger Williams, it'll be readily intelligible why I think that's insulting.
I remember when I first realized I was an atheist, bro. No longer believe. I was shook. I was scared. I could no longer believe the things I was believing, and I was just shook. Like, how am I gonna start processing things for myself?
I mean, shouldn't it be that those who practice organized religion should begin by making a few apologies for themselves on this score? How dare they say that I'm on their turf when we're talking about ethics and morality?
Strange things like that kept on happening, even when Nanak became a man. Nanak used to get up before dawn and go down to the river to bathe and say his prayers. But one morning he disappeared. All that remained were his clothes lying on the bank. All the people in the village looked everywhere for him. Nanak, Nanak, where are you? And when they couldn't find him, they thought that he had drowned.
I view religions as essentially failed sciences. I mean, the religion was the discourse that we had when all causes in the universe were opaque. We didn't know the basis of anything. We didn't know why we were here. We didn't know how diseases spread or what disease was. We didn't know how why people died early and why others flourished. We don't know what's causing thunderstorms or causing crops to fail. And we very naturally, as a cognitive and behavioral imperative, we form descriptions of the world, and we try to figure out what's going on. We tell ourselves stories about our origins and about where we're going and about the causes in the world. And those stories, given our just pervasive ignorance and our disposition to see agency in the world, to see, to feel ourselves in relationship to the world, these stories entail being in relation to invisible friends.
However, 3 days later, Nanak suddenly reappeared. Everyone wanted to know where he had been. He said that he had been with God, and that he'd been told to go and teach the people about how they too could get closer to God. Nanak's vision changed his life, and from then on he traveled the world teaching God's message. The people who gathered to listen to him became known as Sikhs, a word meaning learner, and he became known as Guru Nanak, God's teacher.
So we have, this parent figure in the sky who's going to take care of things if you live rightly, and we have other demonic presences that we should be really worried about. And gradually, what you see happening is that religion, as rationality and dozens of specific sciences were birthed in the human conversation, you see religion on 100 fronts losing the argument with science. I mean, we see that, on the front of human health and disease, I'm saying that religion is losing the argument on every other front. It's losing the argument ethically. It will lose the argument spiritually. I mean, we will understand spiritual experience so well at some point, at the level of the brain and at the level of the way in which using attention in certain ways can change human experience. We'll understand it in a way that makes a mockery of
this kind of denominational religion talk about Jesus and grace, or about Buddha and magic powers, and that will break down in the same way that it has broken down on medicine, in medicine, and that's a process I think we just have to be honest about and let unfold.
For those 100,000 years, people were born, died, usually many of them in childbirth, either the mother or the child. Had life expectancy perhaps 20 years, 25. Died of microorganisms they didn't know existed. Earthquakes would have been terrifying. Tsunamis, volcanoes, mysterious events. War and famine superimposed on this. You can all fill out this picture for yourselves, I'm sure. That was our life. For tens of thousands of years, on and on it went. Maybe a gradual upward curve of a sort. We seem to have made some progress, very painfully, and with infinite suffering and labor, and with our solidarity still intact. Now, here's what you have to believe. You have to believe that heaven watched that for 98,000 years. And after 98,000 years, decided 2,000 years, it may be time to intervene. And the best way of doing that would be to have a filthy human sacrifice in a very remote part of. And the news of this has still not penetrated to the rest of the world, and I don't think will be believed when it does, and isn't believed by me, and can't be believed by a thinking person.
I'd rather live in a Christian country than in an Islamic country. Let's talk about it. Because I don't want to be under Sharia. No problem. And I don't want to be under jizya. As a person who's not of the book, what would happen to a Sikh? You don't mean Christian countries, you mean secular countries. If you were in a Christian country, you might be burning alive. Because when Christians did have power, based upon their Christian law, as they saw it, like Calvin, one of the purest Christian states that ever existed was under Calvin in the 16th century in Geneva. There were people being burnt alive. I would prefer that than the Islamic state. What, burning alive? Yeah. You would prefer that? Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people are leaning towards atheism these days because the idea of God as this guy in the sky, and there's this judgment of after you die, you either go to hell or heaven for eternity. That is a concept that even I reject. Because if God is so humble and if God is so loving, then why is it that this is the only life that we have to reap what you sow, and then after it's all said and done, it's done? Nobody has died and gone to heaven and came back and said that, hey, yeah, I'm here. In Sikhi, it's not about reaching a destination, it's the journey itself. Marji says that, read this Bani, sing it with love, and you'll feel the bliss right now, in the present. There's no promise of, if you do this, you'll get this later.
The reason why I don't buy into Sikhism, or I don't believe in Sikhism, go ahead, tell me, is the following. One main reason. If you analyze the Sikh scriptures, the GGS, Bani, and you look at the content of that scripture, you'll find that there is an immense similarity in the Sikh scripture with, first of all, the Quranic scripture, and secondly, the Hindu scripture. And it would seem very clearly that it's an amalgamation of those two traditions.
He bestowed his grace on Adam, the father of mankind, who then lived in paradise for a long time.
But if you're saying to me that it's just coincidental that it happens to be the case that all of what's in the Sikh scriptures is in fact what's in the Quran and the Bhagavad Gita, I will say that's an amazing contradiction which cannot be believed in by a rational human being. That is to say that a person who's not a prophet has gotten so much of the truth true without being divinely inspired, then the guru comes afterwards and reaffirms this truth. Can you see why that would be?
Who has got the truth without being divinely inspired?
So let me tell you what I mean. If you look at the GGS, correct me if I'm wrong, but you have the process of Jude.
Let me ask you a question before you go any further, because it's been a while. Firstly, this misconception that you have that Sikhism is an amalgamation of Islam and Sikhism, you're not the only person. Many people have had this misconception.
Yeah, that's fine. Lots of people have.
I'm trying to just explain to you. Let me speak. So many people have had that, and we don't buy it for this reason. The Guru is getting it from God. The Guru is saying, but the Guru is saying that he's getting it from God, right? Not me saying, the Guru is saying.
Okay, but lots of people have said that.
Irrelevant to the proof, right? Let's just talk about the Guru is saying is coming from God. So, therefore, the first point that anybody says that, well, actually it's an amalgamation, is effectively calling the Guru a liar.
We say that we can say that he was a social reformer who had an agenda to try and create peace.
He said he got it from God.
No, no,
in his own words.
But maybe it was. Look, it doesn't.
I'll repeat it. He said, "Jaisi mein aave kasam ki bani." That's
he could have said it, but listen.
He did say it.
It's
written down here.
No, it's fine. He could have said it, but I'm not saying necessarily that he must have been a liar. He might have been a social reformer with good intentions, and he must have thought maybe there's a lesser of two evils here. Let's create a new. No, I mean, look.
No, you're not addressing my point. My point number one is
he could have been lying. Yeah. He could have been hallucinating.
The point is,
Sikhs are not allowed to date Muslims. Sikh men not allowed, Sikh women not allowed. If they say why, say Guru Gobind Singh Ji gave a hukum, then we should not. And if they're going to say, well, that's inequality, we say, no, it's not inequality. You are inequality. We don't want to put our daughters into inequality. Keep them in Sikhi, we got equality. Put them in there, they got inequality. And if they say, oh, that's not fair, that's not true, ask them one question. Do you arm women? No. Sikhis got the most amount of equality out of all religions because we're actually giving women a weapon. They be armed, defend yourself. Total opposite of oppression is to give someone a shastra. They haven't got that. If you're married to a Muslim lady and you're a Muslim, you can just divorce her by saying talaq, talaq, talaq. That's it. Bye. She can't do the same with you. She has to go and get your permission to divorce you. She can't just say talaq, talaq, talaq to you back. There is inequality inbred into their religion. It's inherent.
So look, Guru Nanak is an individual who is located in the Punjab region. Actually, he's perhaps ironically born in present-day Pakistan. And he's an individual who had interactions with Sufi people, the like of Baba Farid, who was a Sufi Muslim. Now, he also obviously was in a milieu where Hinduism was prevalent. Now, I want to ask you a simple question. Islam and Hinduism, really in its final form, I'm not talking about a case that can be in the beginning, they're not Abrahamic sort of religions, they don't come from the same sort of, they have nothing to do with each other, but somehow Sikhism was able to amalgamate those two aspects in religion into one religion, holding on to, for example, on the one hand, monotheism, ik onkar, the idea of a strict sort of monotheism, and on the other hand, you've got reincarnation, which is associated more with Hinduism, combining it into one religion, and somehow this is meant to be the religion from God.
No, God's everywhere.
He's everywhere.
Yeah.
Is he in the toilet?
You know this question, this silly question you're going to go. No, it's a silly question. Because it's rude. When you love God like I do, when you hear something like this, well, you're speaking rudely about him. You're speaking rudely about him. Well, you don't have to go, you don't listen to me. You can walk away. You can walk away. Okay, okay. Are you going to listen? God's energy is inside every single thing. And every single thing here that is here right now, what you call the toilet, was once in space. And then it was once in space, scientifically. Then it solidified into planet Earth. And then planet Earth cooled down, and then people came here. Every molecule once was one in space, and now it's here. And one day when the world ends, all those molecules will go back into whatever they came from. So the reality is every single thing is got molecules and energy, and that energy is God.
Is that in your scripture or is that your philosophy?
No, it's in our scripture. He's in everything.
Was in space.
Why do you ask guidance from a guru? Why not from God? I'm just trying to understand.
So the simple answer to that question is, we believe that the guru and God are one. The guru is God.
Muslim males will often undermine Sikh males in the school, college, workplace through tactics such as constant ridicule, teasing, bullying, name-calling with racial undertones and physical abuse. This will be purposely done in full view of the Sikh females to give the perception that the Muslim males are more dominant. The Muslim males will then form friendships with the Sikh girls. This is often supported by Muslim friends of the Sikh girl who will reiterate to her how much of a good guy the Muslim male is. The Muslims may then shower the Sikh girls with gifts, cash, visits to high-end restaurants, shisha bars, clubs, and etc. in order to win favor, as we mentioned. Both the male and female Muslims will raise questions, points similar to those aforementioned above. Question 1, in an attempt to chip away at the Sikh girls' faith. The Muslims will also simultaneously discuss the greatness of their faith. Both are used in conjunction essentially as a two-pronged attack. Once the trust has been built with the Sikh girl and her faith in Sikhi has been broken, the Muslims will isolate her from her friends and family.
Our religion teaches them, that's one of the reasons our religion was given the Quran, to protect themselves against monsters like this. In them days, it was the Mughal Muslim Empire that were murdering and raping our people. That's why we were given the Quran. We are told to take people like this down. He is doing something aiming for. I don't care what religion you want. I will put you down anywhere. That's his moped to bury the moped. Yeah, I'll take over whatever community from.
So for everybody out there who posted on all my videos saying, oh, it's only targeting Muslims, there we go, look.
What's been happening this week with that disgusting murder of that beautiful boy Henry Nowak. And then we've got Sikh mouthpieces like Arnold Paul saying, showing more shedding more dark light onto our community. These individuals don't represent us. They don't represent our community. Harman Kapoor and Bobby Singh in 2008 called scumbag. This paedophile Jay, scumbag. Digba, scumbag. We want them out, we'll call them out. Keep them practice back. Fuck off back to where we come from because we don't want them there.
Rest in peace, Henry Nowak. My heart, all of my community's heart, in every way, in every thought, goes out to his family. I've not seen anyone in our community, not one person, who has in any way tried to defend Digwa, Vikram Digwa. Being is because we're all in shock because this is not in line with what we are taught. This is the opposite of what we are taught. We've grown up, I'm born in the UK, I've grown up with white people. I went to school with them, they're like my brothers. I know so many white people and I'm so close to them that there's no difference between me and them. And although the difference is physical and the skin color, and we do have different cultures and we do have a difference in our way of life, that's what Sikhism originally was. It was a way of life before the British, by the way, colonized this and turned this into a religion.
One myth about Sikhi that you'd like to erase?
I'd say the caste system. I think is a myth. I think it's nonsense. The right way of saying it is what your ancestors did as what industry they worked in, what was their expertise. And there were certain people that were good at farming. There were certain people that were good at building, and there was certain people that were, good with metalwork, pottery, and stuff like that. And I think the caste system was put in by outsiders to segregate. But if you really think about Sikhi, what is the main lesson? Is that the main lesson is everyone's equal. So there's no such thing as caste systems. So I think for me, it's a myth.
What's your name?
My name is Russell Singh Khalsa.
How old are you?
I'm 42 years old.
And where are you from?
I'm from Trinidad. Trinidad and Barbados. It's called the Tree Bajan.
And you're a black guy with turban. How you came into Sikhism?
So in the West Indies, we wear turbans too, right? And so dwelling here in Brampton, that's pretty much how I found Sikhi. I'm kind of naturally just like that, right? And our national dish in Trinidad is roti. And here they give free roti at the Gurdwara. And that's where I found myself on tough days when I had no money. I'm a single father with 2 kids. The only way I could cut a break was going to the Gurdwara to get dinner sometimes when I didn't have money for myself and had to give everything to life. You know how it goes. The only place I could really home myself was the Gurdwara, and was happy that they invited me in and kept me as their guest, and I haven't left since. So, yeah.
That was so amazing, bro. Very happy to see you as a Sikh.
The other black Sikhs I know were ready and willing to sort of like just immerse themselves into Sikhi, which also means taking on parts of Punjabi culture, if we're being honest. And I was like, hey, I see you, Punjabi culture. I respect it. I love it. There are a lot of parallels. There are a lot of overlaps. But also, Black American is a culture, and it's mine. And I don't want to lose it.
When I go into Punjabi Sikh spaces, you would not believe how many times people will come up to me and be like, don't do that. Don't say that. You're not black anymore. You're Sikh now. What the hell does that even mean? Do you read Gurbani? Which ang is that on? The last time I checked, Gurbani says if you want to be a Sikh, you got to accept the fact that your life is not permanent and that you're going to die. And number 2, give up your head. That's the only thing that I've ever read. I ain't read nothing about sacrificing blackness or nothing.
This is City Chun, and how old are you?
I'm 26 as of last Friday.
All right.
4th.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
So 26 years passed by, and were you born a Sikh?
I was born a Sikh.
So your parents became Sikhs when?
They became Sikhs through Yogi Bhajan. They began as yoga students and were so interested in the culture of yoga and that they asked him about his religion, and so Yogi Bhajan began teaching Sikhism separately aside from the Kundalini Yoga, and they decided they liked both, so they decided to continue on with both and stay with Sikh Dharma. And we're all just brothers. So now I have lots of brothers and sisters, and I'm an uncle to many.
So the Sikhs are apparently the bad guys now, all of a sudden. Yeah, the Sikhs are the bad guys because there's one Digwa who you can't even classify as a Sikh, because just because he's wearing the outward dress of a Sikh, he's dressed up basically as a Sikh. His action has proved he is not a Sikh. It's like having a fireman who's going around starting fires. He's not a fireman. It's like saying you got a doctor who's going around spreading disease. Is that a doctor? No, he's not. A Sikh cannot be classified as somebody who's learning from our scriptures. Our scriptures are crystal clear. Feel free to interrogate. Feel free to go and do your own research. Feel free. And you know what? You'll start off with one word in our scriptures, and that is one.
Sikhian caste. I'm Dr. James Holt, and following on from my videos about Ravadasya, I received a couple of comments surrounding the treatment of some Ravadasi by Sikhs. It was suggested, our people are spoken about wrongly, and we're still considered a lower caste. I want to say that the caste system still exists in our country. It was there before, and it's still here today.
जो पाठ करता है, जो बाजा बजाता है, ढोलकी बजाता है, जहाँ चिमटा बजाता है, जो इसकी सफाई करता है, जहाँ लंगर में रोटी पकाता है, कोई भी काम करता है, वो हमारे लोग करते हैं। लेकिन जो मैनेजर बैठता है उस टेबल पे अंदर पे, जो गोल का है, इसका जो पैसा वो गिनेगा, वो ही सारा कुछ करेगा।
But today, casteism is at its peak in Sikhi. This isn't everyone's experience. One person suggested that millions of Sikhs and Ravadasis live together, work together, run businesses together, and share the same villages, cities, language, culture, and history. So I guess the question is, what's the deal? From the time of Guru Nanak, there's been a rejection of caste within Sikhi. The establishment of Langar by Guru Nanak is evidence enough of his radical egalitarianism, where he mandated that all should eat together at the same table. By this one act, he established a practice that challenged the core of the concept of caste that lay at the foundation of many aspects of Indian society. This, combined with a belief in the spark of divinity within all, ensures that Sikhi rejects divisions within society. When we look at the lives of the Gurus, it's easy to see the equality they taught. Guru Granth Sahib is clear on the rejection of all caste distinctions and discrimination. It says, God does not ask about social class or birth. You must find your true home. That is your social class. That is your status, the karma of what you've done. The idea that a person can be unclean or impure because of their identity is against the central teachings of the Gurus. Only that which a person does can make them impure. That this ideal was not followed by all Sikhs is evident approximately 200 years after the institution of the Langar. Guru Gobind Singh introduced the Amrit ceremony for entrance or initiation into the Khalsa. The Panj Pyare were representative of different castes. That they would drink from the same bowl used the same symbolism as that of the Langar. This symbolism suggests that the rejection of caste for some Sikhs was a nice teaching as long as it didn't require any change in their behaviours. Fast forward to today and we can explore the absence of caste in the Sikh panth. While recognising the importance of a casteless society, there are indications that living up to this ideal is still problematic. As indicated at the beginning of this video, there seems to be a disconnect between theory and practice by some.
Colorism works like a subtle caste system. Historically, outdoor labor made people darker, while indoor comfort kept others lighter. Over time, lighter skin became linked to status, wealth, and beauty, while darker skin was linked to labor and lower class. Across many cultures, skin tone became a shortcut for social rank.
साडी कौम ने बहुत बाटा है वखरा रखा हुआ हाँ बड़ी बार एक आदमी का कपार फोड़ दिया था ये उसने ना वो जो उनका दरवाजा है उनके दरवाजे में प्रसाद दिया तो लोहे का इतना बड़ा होता है बर्तन मार के उसका कपार फोड़ दिया ऐसा होता है
Feel free to go and do your own research. Feel free. And you know what? You'll start off with one word in our scriptures, and that is one. that everyone is one. This planet is one. In 100 years' time, me and you, Mr. Far Right protester, me and you, the person who wants the Sikhs out of the country because of one idiot's actions, in 100 years, me and you both are going to be in the ground. We're going to be dead, mate. We're not going to be here. You need to drop these differences. It's been done for hundreds and hundreds of years. People have been put against each other and it ends up in murders. And here, yes, a stupid idiot who I don't want to call a Sikh. He's not a Sikh. He carried out the most horrendous act by murdering Henry Nowak. And you know what? Henry was our brother. He was our brother. I've grown up with hundreds of Henry Nowaks. Hundreds of them. And they're my brothers. They're like my sons. And I've got the pain of what Henry's dad is going through. I can feel it.
Ban the Kirpan. I mean, why it's legal anyway is beyond me. Why anybody's allowed to carry a weapon for religious reasons is beyond me. Because I'll just start a religion and say, right, we're all allowed to carry Mac 10s. Now, yeah, that is a little bit far. But it's the same principle. Acceptance has gone too far. Nobody should be carrying weapons. Nobody. Doesn't matter what it's for. So yeah, 100% ban it. It should have never been made legal in the first place. And people can say, well, this is one incident. If there was one poisonous skittle in the packet, would you start eating them? No. Well, this is one incident. There is plenty more, and I know there is. I've been in prison with Sikhs for murder. They're actually sound fellas, to be fair. And
I'm ethnically Punjabi, obviously. Punjabi Sikh, but they Jat.
Casteism, Baji. We're here already.
Right. If you are a Jat, right, and you say you're a Jat, there is nothing wrong with that. There is literally nothing wrong with saying that.
It's the occupation. Why don't you take us on then? But they're both the same thing.
They are, but I am actually not a Kisan. I'm a Jat in it by Khas. And it does, in my opinion, delineate a certain subculture in Punjab. A dominant one, and one that does actually infiltrate and affect the whole of Punjab and Punjabiyat and everything. That means that we have a certain culture, right? Same as being from Doaba, Jalandhar. It's not that deep, and it's not deep in the UK because most of us have created British Punjabi diaspora identity. The issues and prejudices are still there, definitely. There's not much difference from Punjabi Jat to a Punjabi Tarkhan. Well, I would say the difference does come in, and it's not about Tarkhan or Jat thing, because you have Jats from Kenya as well. It's the Kenyan, Uganda, and Punjabi. There is cultural differences there. One's not better, one's not whatever, but you can acknowledge that and celebrate both, but you can't sit there and not acknowledge, well, we have different cultures. In the UK, I don't think, a Jat wedding might be a little bit different, but a Jat day-to-day living and a Tarkhan day-to-day living
in the UK
isn't that different.
ਪੂਰਾ ਬਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਪ੍ਰਚਾਰ ਕਰ ਲੈਂਦਾ ਆ ਪੂਰੀ ਬਾਣੀ ਜਾਣਦਾ ਆ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਫੇਰ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਗਿਣਤੀ ਚ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਤੇ ਜੱਟਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਬਜ਼ਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਆ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸਾਡਾ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਹੈ ਹਾਂਜੀ ਜਦ ਕਿ ਸਿੱਖ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ 10% ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਬਾਕੀ 70% ਗਲਤ ਆ ਹਾਂ
This is why it's not about hating and saying we're different. If I could turn around and say all Indians are the same, that doesn't get us very far. Some South Indian person to some Gujarati person to some Punjabi, they're all going to have different cultural things. We can't say Indian. We can, of course, but it's not that accurate.
Now let's look at the founder of Sikhism, Guru Nanak. Okay, this is the guy who founded Sikhism 500 years ago. Here is a reading from The Life of Guru Nanak, chapter 12. Listen to this. Saido and Geddo, a third Jat, called Saiho, accompanied him thither. On seeing them, they're going to some island to evangelize people with the Sikh religion. It says, on seeing them, the tyrant, the guy who rules over this island, the tyrant resolved to put them to death for trespassing on his domain. He seized the guru as the first victim of his rage. The guru fell into a trance and sang the following. He to whom the Lord is compassionate and merciful will do the master's work. That worshiper whom God causeth to abide by his order will worship him. By obeying his order, man is acceptable, and shall then reach his master's court. He shall act as pleaseth his master, and obtain the fruit his heart desireth, and he shall be clothed with a robe of honor in God's court. It is said that on hearing this hymn, the tyrant desisted from his intention and prostrated himself before the guru. Saido gave him water to drink, in which the guru had washed his feet and thus made him a Sikh and endured him deliverance. Yeah, that would make you a Sikh. I'm feeling a Sikh. I drank this water that's from the guru's feet. So, but here's the thing. It doesn't just stop with that story where the guru washes his feet and then gives it to somebody to drink. It said, here, this will make you a Sikh. And not only that, it said it made him a Sikh and ensured him deliverance.
A lot of people who come, they actually bathe in the water here. Does that have special properties?
Yes. There is a blessing in this water that basically anyone who has got any illness or any skin problems or any type of problems, if he does it with good faith and with a real faith in mind, he bathes in this water, in the holy water, it will cure him or her.
Those laws can be suspended, and in your favor too, if you make the right prayers and propitiations and sacrifices. Your leprosy can be cured. The blind can see. Nonsense. It's not moral to lie to children. It's not moral to lie to ignorant, uneducated people and to tell them that if they will only believe nonsense, they can be saved. It's immoral. You have to ask yourself one of two things. Well, actually, you have to ask yourself both. Which is the more probable, that the laws of nature have just been suspended or that I am under a misapprehension? That's if you are an eyewitness yourself to it. If you're hearing about it second, third, fourth, and fifth hand, you have to ask this question with redoubled and trebled and quadrupled force. And the likelihood is which? That the laws of nature were suspended or that somebody maybe garbled, maybe a rumor got around. If you make this assumption, then nothing is mysterious about reality. Nothing is mysterious at all. It would explain why everyone seems to die and no one comes back. No longer a mystery about that. It would explain why some people are cured of leprosy and other even worse diseases if they go to the doctor, and if that doctor has access to certain kinds of drugs, but not if they don't. Those laws can be suspended, and in your favor too, if you make the right prayers and propitiations and sacrifices. Your leprosy can be cured. The blind can see. Nonsense. It's not moral to lie to children. It's not moral to lie to ignorant, uneducated people and to tell them that if they will only believe nonsense, they can be saved. It's immoral. That one of the most wicked ideas ever preached, and one that's ruined the lives and the peace of mind of many, many children, preached to them by vicious, child-hating old men and women.
My name is Christopher Hitchens. I'm a writer by trade, and my most recent book is called God is Not Great. The subtitle, in case people don't get the point from the title itself, is How Religion Poisons Everything.
You're in your box, bro. You're trying to make everybody part of your religion. No, we're not. Muslims want to make everybody Muslim. We want to make everybody religious. That's the key difference.
Today, we need to represent this country at all areas. I mean, you know my view. My view is take over England. Yeah. I don't see, if people watch my videos, I just say, look, if you want to Khalsa Raj, then do Khalsa Raj here. What's the point of thinking about Khalistan in Punjab? We're never going to move out there. I don't want to move out to Khalistan. As a Sikh, we have to agree with Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Can't say, no, you're wrong. And as a Sikh, we believe that we will rule the world. That we will rule the world.
A trusted religious leader is now banned and jailed. This is Ravinder Singh, a 57-year-old former trustee of a Sikh charity, originally from India, but living in the UK. He was barred from working with any charity after being caught running a visa scam, using his trusted position to help Indian migrants enter the UK as ministers of religion in exchange for £4,500 each. Investigators found he misused the charity's accounts and disguised illegal payments as donations, making it look like legitimate charity income. Singh pleaded guilty to several counts of assisting unlawful immigration at Manchester Crown Court and was sentenced to 27 months in prison. The charity he worked with, the Khalsa Missionary Society, was already removed from the National Register back in 2016 because of serious concerns. Authorities said his actions were a betrayal of faith and community trust, showing how even organizations built to serve can be misused. This shocking case is a reminder that integrity must always come first, when people place their trust in you.
Ladies and gentlemen, brothers, sisters, comrades, friends, here's my proposition. What we have here, picked from no mean source, is a distillation of precisely what is twisted and immoral in the faith mentality. It's essential fanaticism, its consideration of the human being as raw material, and its fantasy of purity. Once you assume a creator and a plan, it makes us objects in a cruel experiment whereby we are created sick and commanded to be well. I'll repeat that. Created sick and then ordered to be well. And over us to supervise this is installed a celestial dictatorship, a kind of divine North Korea. Exigent, I would say more than exigent, greedy for uncritical praise from dawn till dusk, and swift to punish an eternal, unalterable judge, jury, and executioner against whom there could be no appeal, and who wasn't finished with you even when you died. However, let no one say there's no cure. Salvation is offered. Redemption, indeed, is promised at the low price of the surrender of your critical faculties. Religion, it might be said, must be said, would have to admit, makes extraordinary claims, but though I would maintain that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, rather daringly provides not even ordinary evidence for its extraordinary supernatural claims, to insist that we are created and not evolved in the face of all the evidence. Religion forces nice people to do unkind things, and also makes intelligent people say stupid things. As the great physicist Steven Weinberg has very aptly put it, in the ordinary moral universe, the good will do the best they can, the worst will do the worst they can. But if you want to make good people do wicked things, you'll need religion. Religion, in fact, any form of faith, because it is a surrender of reason, it's a surrender of reason in favor of faith, is a fantastic force multiplier. A tremendous intensifier of all things that are in fact divisive rather than inclusive, and that's why its history is so stained with blood. Crimes against humanity, crimes against womanhood, crimes against reason and science, attacks upon medicine and enlightenment, all these appalling things. There is no conceivable way that by calling on the supernatural, you will achieve anything like your objective of a common humanism, which is, I think you're quite right to say, our only chance of, I won't call it salvation. Thank you.
Sound illogical, facts over fantasy. Sound illogical, link with humanity. Like, share and subscribe for truth and clarity. Die. Die. What are your sins?